Hi, welcome. My name is Katy and I'm really excited to welcome you to our Good Talk with Katy. That's me. And today we have a really great conversation. And that's really what I think these are, is a way to get to know Goodwill and a way for me and us at Goodwill to get to know each other and hear what we're doing. And whenever we do this, we always leave inspired and re-energized and excited about what's going on, as well as getting to meet some of the amazing people that are bulldozing barriers for themselves and for others. So first of all, I want to just say happy spring. I can't go without saying that spring is one of maybe our favorite season here at Goodwill, because it's spring cleaning. And it's a real thing. People ask me this when I meet them about thrift stores and, is it really true that people spring clean? And the answer is 100% yes, they really do. It's a true phenomenon, maybe just here in the Northeast, but I think everywhere. You've got this renewal in your life and you go through your things, and then what do? Bring them to Goodwill. So we appreciate when you do that, when I do that. And as you know, probably already, that I'm wearing Goodwill as always. These are wonderful pieces that are pre-loved, just aren't right for you anymore. You never wore it, never found the chance. And we love having the opportunity to turn that into the story you're going to hear today, as well as make a humongous environmental impact. April, which is in one day, I think, is got Earth Day in it on the 22nd. And, we're excited to say that we saved, I'm going to look down here, 40 million pounds of pre-loved clothing and household items in the last year. And that translates into 59, I'm going to get it, metric tons. So this enormous number, 59 metric tons of carbon, CO2, not being released into the atmosphere, which is what we know helps is adding to heating up the earth and causing global warming. So by avoiding that, by reusing and reloving and recycling your clothing here with Goodwill and our thrift stores, we're able to make a big impact on the earth. And on Earth Day coming up, it's always good to do that. But before we get to April, it's still March, and March is National Developmental Disabilities Month. It's lots of things, but it's that, as well as Women's History Month and Black History Month, and there's all sorts of important things to celebrate that we try to celebrate every day and every month. But it's good to call it out, and so we're excited to talk about what we can do together to lift up and make sure that no talent is left on the sideline, whether it be a person with developmental disabilities, someone who is unemployed, underemployed, or someone who has behavioral health issues. We love to figure out how we can celebrate and build up and share the natural talent that's within all of us. So, last year, you may wonder how the stores that I was just talking about interact with March Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. So I'll just take a moment to explain. Our stores are really the engine, part of our double impact. So we've got our sustainable impact, and then we've got our mission impact. And the stores fund and help us drive that impact in mission. And today you're going to meet some of the folks, the leaders and individuals who are part of that mission impact that we have. So we talked about our environmental impact, but we also have our mission impact, which is why we call it our double impact, as you can hear. But the stores are a necessary and really exciting part. We've had them for over 100 years here at Goodwill, and I think that's probably the way most people know us. So we always want to acknowledge how they work best together. I'm looking forward to introducing you to someone extremely wonderful, a real superstar on our team, Selena Cavalucci. She is our Assistant Vice President of Day Services. Now, that might not mean anything to you what day services means, but really what this is about connecting people with disabilities to jobs, having a person-centered approach to making sure that everyone's talents and attributes are in the forefront. Selena's been at Goodwill, New York, New Jersey for 20 years. We're extremely lucky to have her. She is a statewide known and treasure about leading new program thinking around people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism spectrum disorder. She has helped thousands of people enter the workforce and become more independent. And it says here you have a degree from John Jay, criminal justice, and a master's degree in forensic psychology. So you're well suited to this work. But more importantly, as we work with you every day, we see the impact you have. And again, I want to thank you for being a part of the Goodwill team. You are a real, as I say, national treasure in this field. And we're certainly glad to have you. So we're gonna start a little bit by just having a conversation with Selena, and then introduce Jennifer and Janine, and hear a little more. So first, why don't we start with what's on everybody's mind still, which is the pandemic. It hit 2 years ago. This is day services is an in-person service. That's sort of like you come in during the day, something I learned in social work school myself. You come in during the day, you receive community and interaction. So what do we do when everything shuts down?
Yeah, so Katie, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and also to hear Jennifer's story, because she was one of the first people that when we were placing people with disabilities in the community, she was one of the first people that came out of our workshop and went into the community in a job.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Yeah, so we're so excited to hear her story, and thank you again for having me here. So yeah, COVID, obviously COVID has been really difficult for everybody. One of the hardest things about having an in-person service go remote is that we really were not set up for that. So we had to shift the way most agencies did within just a couple of months to figure out how to provide all those things we used to do in person remotely. We were able to do that through a grant that got us a bunch of tablets, and we were able to get them out to people in their homes and show them how to use them. And so we were able to kind of pivot and do the things remotely. And now, as things are starting to, knock on wood, maybe die down, we're doing some hybrid where we're on site and then remote some days. Some people are back fully, and some people are still getting comfortable and they're fully remote. So it's a big mix. It was a big change for us.
Yes, for all of us, but I'm really proud of the way the mission team seamlessly moved to this new normal. We know that there's more than skills or experience, sometimes barriers for people with disability. There's concern about losing benefits. There's concern about, maybe their family, their medical issues. Can you talk about barrier, when we talk about bulldozing barriers to employment here is a term I like to use because I really see you guys do that, but maybe you can just take us back at high level. What are the barriers that a person might have, and beyond, I've never had a job outside, what are the unique obstacles that you help move out of the way?
Somebody with an intellectual disability or developmental disability might be coming out of school with limited independence. So often they want to work, but they maybe don't know how to travel independently. They may not have good money skills and understand the value of money and how to use it in the community. Safety is often an issue, and lack of experience. So we run a lot of different services for people in the boroughs that have intellectual disabilities and autism. Goodwill is a workforce agency, so most of our focus is employment. And the reason for that is because when somebody's working, they have financial control of their lives. It gives them a purpose, it gives them a social network, and everybody, all of us want these things, disability or not, right? So our services, we really help people gain support and skills and experience in these areas. That can look like volunteering or doing an internship to gain experience in a sector, and then maybe transition from that into paid employment. It could look like we do resumes, we do interview prep, help people get clothing for interviews, job placements. And then there's a whole set of supports for people to help maintain that job around on-site coaching and interacting with the employer.
That's great. And do we have, I'm pretty sure that we also help people when they think about their financial, not just the money that they might get out of their paycheck, but thinking about their benefits and their Medicaid or, anything like that. How do we address those? Because some people, I know, you hear folks saying, well, it's challenging to work because of, the risk of benefits changing.
Yeah. So there's a lot of misinformation out there around benefits and if you can work or not work.
Yes, Goodwill has allowed.
Yes. So Goodwill has a really great benefits advisement team, and they work with people, exactly on that, on understanding the impact that working has on their Social Security, so that that really isn't an obstacle either to employment or to moving up in employment, because sometimes people will be afraid to take extra hours or to take a promotion. So the team really works with people so that they can achieve those goals they want to achieve.
That's awesome. So they're able to keep the security that is, the government provides while working,
Yeah.
and really busting that myth that people on disability don't want to work. It's just not
Mhm.
true. People want to work, and but what it's really about is sometimes the fear of losing those, the secure benefits, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I need healthcare every month. I've got to go to the dentist. These are important things. So, you had mentioned earlier the workshop. And so why don't we just take a moment? This is kind of a big topic, but why don't we just take a moment? What the workshop is or was is something called, some of you might know 14C, maybe not. It's a very technical term, but this was the idea, an older idea of the way people with disabilities, I want to say should work. It wasn't integrated. It was only people with disabilities doing work, and they were only paid for what they accomplished versus a per hour. This is legal with the Department of Labor currently, although I do think that the new possibly that Marty Walsh will change this. There's some signaling from Washington that 14C may end nationally with the new Department of Labor. But currently it's a legal practice, but it's one that here at Goodwill we decided was not for us anymore, and really not the ethical aligned practice with the way that we see the value of work. So do you mind just telling us how we made the change, and what a kind of a transformation that is?
Yeah, I would say that model, like you said, was meant when it was first originated to actually give people with disabilities an ability to work, because there wasn't a lot of support out there. But over the years, New York State specifically has given a lot of programs and a lot of different ways to fund work. So I would say like around 2009, Goodwill looked at it and realized like that model wasn't going to work for us anymore. Not that it doesn't work for other states and other situations, but specifically for New York State and Goodwill, there were other mechanisms to help us get people to actual work. So Goodwill put a lot of energy and time into kind of developing a way to shut the workshop down, while making sure the people who were in it were able to connect to paid employment at a regular rate in the community, or to some kind of support that they wanted. Some people were looking to retire, so we were able to do some retirement programs for people with developmental disabilities. Some people just wanted to gain more experience or more, we do a lot of independence work around communication and, like we spoke earlier, travel and safety. So we were able to develop programs for people to do those things and to leave the workshop and be in different settings.
Great. So I mean, we're getting excited about hearing Jennifer's story in just a moment. You know, I think the other thing that's on people's minds is when they think about work, if they're thinking about this, if they're reading about it, maybe themselves, they were part of the Great Resignation. We've had over 28 million workers have left work, resigned, retired, as you said. Some have taken early retirement. Some moms have not, mothers have not gone back, especially with small children. But there are, again, 28 million workers nationally that have left. Maybe can you talk a little bit about how we're helping both sides of the coin, employers? Oh, I'm noticing that my dress is not the way it was supposed to be. Well, sorry about that. How we're helping employers and employees, connect, especially during this time. And honestly, I think you guys have really figured out a little bit of a silver lining here. When we think about the opportunity that some worker rights and some more worker energy has happened here during the Great Resignation.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons Goodwill is in a good position for this is because people with disabilities, there's a lot of studies that show that they are really great workers. When they're given a chance, somebody with a disability will often be one of your best employees. They are on time, there's a lot of loyalty, there's a lot of retention, and Goodwill has a lot of people that we're assisting to find jobs. And right now, employers are really looking for people that are going to be dedicated, that are going to stay, and that have those work skills. So it's a good match for Goodwill and employers to work together to fill all those openings.
That's great. I mean, I think, I think I know some of your statistics, which is, 92% of individuals that we place into jobs achieve, the 90-day retention. And if you stay in a job for those first 3 months, you are statistically, XXX times more likely to stay for years. So if you get through those first 90 days, you get there, the commute works, your coworkers are nice, the job makes sense, and you stay those days, you're going to stay. And so that is a great milestone to see that 92%. That's amazing. I just want to, do you want to let people know if they're interested, if they're employers or if they are looking for services, how to get in touch with you?
Sure. If people are interested, either someone who's looking to be placed or an employer who's looking for great employees, they can email findgoodpeople@goodwillny.org.
That's awesome. And we'll put that in the chat. We've also invited Janine and Jennifer and one of our rehab specialists. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Jennifer is someone who's been with Goodwill for more than 10 years and who lives in Queens, and is someone you might have already met yourself if you were at Starbucks recently getting a latte. So, I'd love, hi, Jennifer, nice to meet you. We met briefly earlier, and Janine, nice to see you as well. So Jennifer, why did you come to Goodwill and when? And, tell me a little bit about how we connected.
Well, the first time I came to Goodwill, it was in November 2008, when I met Selena. It was me and my mom, because I graduated from August Martin High School with the certificate, and I was about to go to college in LaGuardia Community College, but they won't accept it because I don't have nor high school diploma or GED. So Mom and I went to Bethesda. They suggested, let's go to Goodwill. So we go to Goodwill, and I met Selena. And TOPS stands for Translation Opportunity Program. They learn about jobs or communication or going out in the community. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that you came and met Selena. It seems like it was a good thing.
I actually did Jennifer's intake many, many years ago.
That's awesome. So you were the first person who you met. So Jennifer, were you always interested in what they call food service or, restaurants or hospitality? Were you always interested in this area?
Yes. It was the summer of 2010 or 2011 when I started work at 4th Street Cafe. It's a coffee shop when we sell coffee, tea and hot chocolate and iced coffee. And I learned experience. So I learned how to make drinks, how to do the cash register, how to count money and do tips, everything.
That's great. And so when you started that experience at the, kind of inside the Goodwill office where we had this 4th Street Cafe, and kind of getting your, as you say, toe in the water into that, did you get any other jobs before you got to Starbucks?
Yes, it was Astor Bake Shop at Astoria as an intern. I met George Cooney, I think, but he was really nice, and I learned how to give out menus to the customer, how to greet them, how I put the stamp in the box when you put your food in the box to deliver. Yeah, it was a good experience.
Great. So I think my notes here say that was like an internship. So you went from kind of putting your toe in the water to an internship, and then you got a job at Starbucks. And tell us a little bit about, what do you like about Starbucks? I know what my favorite drink, maybe what your favorite drink is. because we all have our favorite drinks.
Well, I started work at Starbucks on July 3rd, 2014. One of the staff named Dara suggested I should work at Starbucks. At first, that's a great idea because, I mean, Starbucks is the best beverage in the history of coffee.
They love that you're saying that. That's good.
Aside of Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I started working at Starbucks on July 3rd, 2014. And the first time I came here, they taught me, they know the history of Starbucks about coffee. They taught me how to do cash register, how to make drinks, how to make coffee, cappuccino, latte, frappuccino. And they know how to restock everything that was empty.
And so what's your favorite drink?
Be honest, I like frappuccinos.
Frappuccino. Okay, mine's a chai, non-fat chai latte, because I'm only a tea drinker.
Yes.
So I love that. I love that chai latte myself. So now that you're working at Starbucks, do you come to Goodwill at all? Do you work with any of our programs?
Yes. Well, first it was Transition Opportunity Program. Then it was Contract Shop. Then in 2010, then it was Project Discovery because I live in Rosedale. So I took the bus to Jamaica. And now I'm at Next Step Program. It's for the program who got the job, who can go in their community and learn about themselves. And I'm also part of the Saturday Respite Program, where you go every Saturday and go out in the community.
That's great. So my understanding of the Saturday program is for someone like yourself who's working, you get to come back to Goodwill, maybe do some art, do some community work together.
Yes.
And do you have friends that you've known there for a while?
Yes.
Or folks? Yeah, that's great. So it's sort of like a community club.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's where you go out in the community. We go to the mall, the flea market, the parks, the Staten Island.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, Jennifer and Janine, to come today and talk on the Katy Good Talk, or the Good Talk with Katy, about our favorite drinks, why bulldozing barriers is important, and really just hearing your success, Jennifer. It's really hats off to you and your mom and your community here, who making such a dynamic and wonderful employee and person. Really, we have a person-centered approach, and really, while your job is a part of you, it's only part of you, right? So same for all of us. So I really appreciate hearing about this today. Does anyone have any questions in the chat? I don't see any, but if you do, please let us know. Otherwise, I don't see any questions. Anything I didn't ask you, Jennifer, that you want to tell me about Goodwill, or?
No.
No. Yeah. Okay. We covered it. Okay, good. I thought so. Well, that means my questions were good. So thank you. I appreciate that. I hope, I want to just end by saying we are going to have an event on April 28th called our Goodwill Evening of Treasures. And it's a big gala fundraiser. And if you're out there listening, we hope that you'll come and join us at this event. You can find it on our website, www.goodwillny.org or nynj.org. And you can click and buy tickets or become a sponsor. And we're really excited about that because that's going to show off our double impact as well. We've got some sustainable fashion that's on display, upcycled pieces, as well as people like Jennifer and folks, stories to be told about how your donation can make a big impact. So have a great day, and I'll see you out there thrifting. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.